Hi everybody. Okay, so today what I want to show you is how I finish up processing my boxes, and I'm actually going to cut the rim around the tape edge here and show you what I use for a tool and show you how I do it. It's very tricky. You do have to take your time. You don't want to push too hard, but yet you do have to put a lot of pressure in order to get through some of this. So it's very tricky, but very necessary because I don't want that edge, obviously, to cause me pain when I go to separate the tape from the box itself. So here's the look of the box. There's the edge here. So you can see some of it has spilled over where I unfortunately was not able to prevent that as being kind of a problem. You can see some edges are real straight and clean. So basically I'm gonna process that right now and show you how I do it. This is the tool that I use. Oh, if you can see it. It's an old rusty wooden carver's tool. Yeah, so it's got sticky adhesive. It's got a bunch of junk all over it, but nonetheless, why I use this is because it's such a small blade front, and I put my pressure down and go away from me. And this right here is almost like having it on a fingertip, so it gives me a ton of control, and I really like that. So here I'm going to start. I'm going to push down on this really hard. I've got myself my, it's a Wilton Lazy Susan, so I can spin it around and work with this. So right now I'll do all four sides. And I'm actually going to turn the camera down just a skosh. It's my phone attached to a swivel thing, so it'll probably move on its own a little bit. I'm sorry for that. So I stayed really close to the edge, but I am not, I'm trying not to cut through the edge with the blade tip. When it's thick, just go slower, kind of rock up and down. The great thing with using these pine boxes is that you can fix it up and sand it or whatever really easy. You can almost just use your fingernail. I do that a lot of times where I'll just use my fingernail to straighten or conceal a scratch or a cut mark. And I'm not perfect, you know, sometimes I have to come in here and trim it up quite a bit, and sometimes it's just right. See, just like that. A lot of times if I don't rock up and down, I notice the blade will take off. So that was on me. But it won't ever poke me, being that I'm going away from myself. And my hand is up on top of the box. If I was cutting like this and holding the box, obviously you could see I would poke myself. So whether you're left or right-handed, do it the opposite side of what your hand is, holding onto the box. Okay, did I do 4? So we'll lift that tape up. Peel this all off. Glad you guys can see that there. Okay, so here's my tape square. I'll actually kind of sometimes attach it here. And as I'm straightening up the edge, I'll put my little scraps on that. So here's what we've got. And you see I do have a little bit of an edge here to fix. I've got to get rid of a little bit of a tape overlay right there. But otherwise, this box is pretty much done and ready for whatever my next step is that I choose to do. Now, one thing I did do different with these boxes is, or I do every time differently than my, like, let's say my wall panels. When I do that resin art wall panel, I'm actually doing several layer pours of the resin. So on the box, it's just one pour. I don't want to put a ton of material on top of here because it would be even more difficult to get that clean edge here on this box, but I don't feel like it's necessary. You can see the sparkle on here and you can still see the details. The crystals are attached. I'm going to put the hardware on the front. It's either way, it looks just absolutely pretty and stunning looking as far as all the sparkle. So sometimes less is more, you know. And that's something you can contemplate when and if you're going to be making your own. You know, start small. This kind of a box is something you can find at a craft store. You could do this very easily. And that's why I like to show everybody, because maybe you don't like exactly what I do, but you've got your own ideas for what you would make. Go for it. You know, take some of these tips and make one that's special, you know. With the beach elements and crystals, you could have found that somewhere on a special vacation or the day you got proposed to. I have a rock that I found actually the day that I got proposed to. The rock looked like a ring. It literally had a hole in it. It had a huge top and then the bottom. And I'm going to be making a resin art piece where that will be incorporated in it. And I'll, of course, not be selling that one. That'll be one for us as a special mark to our adventures. So, very cool, though. I think everyone should take advantage of those kind of things, and learning little tricks of the trade for artists and what we do and sharing that information is definitely worth it. Because you never know what people would like to make. Or have. You know, can't make it yourself, now you know someone can. So I'm just shaving up the edges here. This might seem a little frivolous or redundant right now to anyone, but this is still part of that important cleaning the edge. Sometimes tape will stick onto there. So I go to clean it all up. It's got to be perfect for me and got to be perfect for you. Okay, voila, it's done. So I have one more. I'll cut this one more. See, you guys could see me do it one more time. Okay, this is my silver. And I already did, so I'm going to add detailed lines. This is the first time I've actually done that. I kind of like it. It borders that edge of the mirrored elements and the crystals. On this side, you've got that silver line, and then this side, all the glitter. So, I'll show you when I do that to a couple more of these boxes, how I drew that line. Just to give it that geode look even more. And the resin, you know, it's slippery. So when you go over this, it's really important that you just take your time, because you don't want to shoot across the wood, marking it and giving yourself more work in the long run. And the straighter I can make this edge, that means I just peel the tape and I'm ready to go to the next step in most cases. Got 10 boxes here that I'm working with that are all amethyst, 3 crystal amethyst points on each box. Little tip to this is if the room that you're working in with the resin when you go to cut could be like warm, almost as warm as, like my studio space is the warmest room in the house, okay? So resin likes to be at about 75 degrees when it's being worked with, and to kind of keep that time that I know I'm going to be working with as well. So 75 degrees is kind of an area where you're going to have a little bit more flexibility with this resin. It's not going to come all the way off. It's not going to cause a problem, but the harder it is, the harder it's going to be to penetrate through the top of that resin. I poured these 2 days ago. So we're on the second day from when I poured them. All right, so I just have a little edge here to clean up. Perfect. I can see that I've got accidentally a little spat of resin here. This is all the reason I use that big of tape. I think this is 1.5 inch, 2 inch tape. So the 2 inches out, you know, even sometimes I'll end up with a little mistake back there, but I'll scrape this off and kind of do a little repair in the back with one of my white marker pens if I have to. But most of the time I can just get this little mark right off and you wouldn't even know that it was there. So you kind of see I got a little more work to do, whiten it out, and it'll match the rest of the box. All right, so there's the top again, all finished. We have that. Now we've done one gold and one silver. All right, here's one that I already did. Has the border line on it. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. This here, all along that. That's what I'm gonna add. So that's what I'll be showing you here next. Oh, I forgot. I do have more to peel off. This is a fun part. Why not show you more? So I just pull up, pull back. If it starts to be a pain on one side, I'll go around on this side. See if it won't, you know, be a little easier. There we go. I do have a little left here. Well, I'll skip that part, but you can see here I've already done the lines and I kind of went crazy with this one. That's the back, that's the front. There we go. Oh, so this is a good example of how sometimes the tape just becomes more of a pain than helpful, but I have a little bit of a bleed out. So let's see if you can see that area right there. So I'll come along with my scraper and clean up that whole edge and you won't even tell that any of that's there. But again, I'll do that later because I want to show you guys my vein lines. Oh, I didn't show you the top of that box, so here's the top of that box. So I will do the marking across that. I've got 1, 2, 3 gold ones that I'll do the mark on and that I haven't yet, and I have 2 of the silver ones that I'm gonna do. Okay, I do see, look at that big hangover area, super thick. I'm gonna come along here and just really take my time with it. Tons of pressure. I mean, you can see this hand is gripped as hard as I can. My fingertips are white. I mean, you're not being shy with trying to get through that because you want it to come off. All right, so anyways, there's the top of that again, front. And of course, my light over here is kind of yellowish, and the light over here is kind of bluish, daylight. I'm trying to get the best of both colors here because my technology is being very stubborn and difficult in my opinion. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this so I can get this down just a skosh so you can see how I do the lines. So this is the part that I'm gonna be marking on. Dab my pen, make sure it's cooperating with me. Basically gonna go right along the edge of my mirrored elements and make that line. I almost like just the single line more than the veins going through it. Maybe you can tell me what you think too. Tell me what you like better, if you like the where I streak it out and do the lines. So there's the example of the two differences. Which do you like, the one on the bottom or the one on the top? Oh, kind of rock that around. There we go. All right, so that was one of the gold ones. Kind of fill it in just a little bit more. Make it really show up. But not obviously taking away too much of that gold detail right there either. There we go. Okay. One more. This doesn't take too long, so if anyone decided to do that, I mean, you can just grab yourself, this is the oil sharp, what do they call it, oil-based paint pen from Sharpie. Everybody uses their own different pens. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that, because that's like getting into a discussion, and I am no pen expert. I just pick what works for me and what's convenient where I can find it. So that's all I'm going to say. All right, there's the top of that one. You can see where I'm, questioning doing the lines out or not. I guess we'd say what majority ruled. Either way, doing a couple this way, a couple that way wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay, I'll show you the top before. Should have done that on the other two, sorry. Okay, there's the top. I'm gonna actually wrap around this quite a bit because of the way that the gold goes. I think it would look good. I can tip this up a little, maybe that'll help. So I obviously don't want to mark the crystal there, but I want to go up close to it because that gives it a really cool detail. There we go, like that. There. Okay, let's do some silver. I only have 2 of those, so it won't take too long. All right, here's before. This is the back of the box, front of the box. Okay. Oh, I should press this. Oh, okay. Good. Looks good. Okay. All right. So, I like that. Okay. So here's an example of the lines. You tell me what you think. Do you like the way that I spread the vein lines out, or should I just leave it more of that bordered edge? What does the majority say here? Yeah. You know, everybody's got a different opinion, but as far as the details, tell me what you think. Again, just, you know, you stick that point end a bunch of different directions to get around all of the little edges of the mirror and get it right up in there and make it look like it's that geode cluster edge or something. There, I'll touch this up here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that was it for that part. I've got all of them right here on the table. I'm gonna put the hardware on them, get their handles and stuff done, and then I'll start getting ready to take pictures of them. I'll probably load them up on my Etsy shop because this is gonna be a really good Valentine's Day item. I figure, you know, you could add your own little character touch of something inside of the boxes and whatnot, because it's the perfect size. You can kind of see compared to my small hands. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. I've got 10 of them here to finish up, so I will do that right now, and hopefully you'll see pictures by this weekend or in the coming week. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.